If you're watching this video, it is a very good chance that you and I are working on a project together. This is an introduction to Trello, and this is the software that I use to help communicate better when we're doing projects. There are many videos online about how to use Trello, so I'll go into a little bit on how Trello works, but most of it I'm going to use or show you, I guess, how I will use Trello with you to communicate better on a project. If we look right here, we have all these titles across the top. So these are separate columns. Each one of these are called lists. In each list, there's going to be a number of cards. Right now, in the job startup, there are just a few cards in some of the lists, and some of the lists we will populate as the project goes on. So let's start in the first list, which is office work. Underneath setup job, which once I get the job set up, it'll probably be called job info. If you want to click on it, it's going to have a label, and that's where you see that orange right over here, this orange right here. This label is office. So this is something that I will do. This is not a card that you need to worry about as far as doing anything with, except for it will have all the information for the project. In this card, under the description, I'm going to have the address, the job number, and then all the players with all of their phone numbers and emails. And the great thing about having this all put in here is when you look at it, the phone numbers and the emails are all clickable links. So you don't have to put all these people into your contact manager inside your phone or in your computer, inside of Outlook or anything like that. Because some of these people you may never ever deal with again, and that keeps your contacts down so you don't have so many to manage on your phone. So inside of here, you can just use this for looking at everything that's going on inside of the projects. And then if you look under the next card would be submittals. If you click on that card, you're going to see in this sample job, here's submittals that I sent, gear, fixtures, conduit, wire, boxes. You can see all those are checked off, which means I went ahead and sent them off. And if you look down below, you'll see when I click these, Jeff Boots completed gear on this card at 4 p.m. on September 1st. So you can see that I had, that's when I clicked that. So it gives you a date as when that was done. When you look at submittals approved, then you can see which submittals have been approved and have gone through. And then you can see here in this particular one that gear and fixtures, we don't have anything back yet. I want to let you see something on these cards. If you look at the different icons on the cards, you can see here this icon, and if you hold your finger over it, it'll say this card has a description. So any card where the description is filled out, you're going to see these little lines. Any card that has a checklist, you're going to see the check box with how many items have been checked out of how many items have put on the checklist. Under Write POs, you're going to have, there's two icons here. This one here is comments, so how many comments have been made on the card and how many attachments are on this card. So if we open this card up, you're going to see that it's for the office. There's an attachment, which you can click on, and you can see here's my purchase order that I made for this project. And you can see my comment, which says I sent this PO to Big Electric Supply for materials, and you can see when I sent it right here. Now, if you move over to the working on card, this working on card, or I guess list, has nothing in it, and you're going to populate the working on list from the cards under task list. Now these are tasks that we're going to fill out together. We'll go over how we see the job going, and you or I or both of us will start adding lists or cards to this list. So let's add one for, these are the generic ones that will come inside the project already. But let's go ahead and add a card for installing gear. So let's do it manually. So I'm going to press add a card. And I'm going to write install gear. Now you can see under these two that are here, they both have the green label, which is field. They also have a checklist of 10% to 100%. Well, your install gear don't have any of that. So if you go into the card, you can click over here on labels, click field, and that'll put the green label on it. Now, you don't have to worry about checklists as far as adding them manually. What you can do is click checklist, and for the title of the checklist, I want you to use at least part of the title of your card. So maybe on this one, just put gear progress. And then copy, you can go over here to lighting progress, which is lighting branch circuit. That's the card. Here's the checklist on that card. Click on that and say add. And now that's already there. So now you're able to populate this list without, or this checklist without actually having to create it yourself, which makes that kind of nice. Now, I said we were doing this card the manual way. The other way would be to do this. Let's go to install gear, and let's make a card for underground work. So you can say copy this card, call it underground work, and then the position will be card number 4, which will come under this card, and just say create card. And when you go over here, there's underground work. It already has the label, already has the checklist in it. Now, the only thing you're going to have to do is go up here and change that name. So if you look, I just clicked on the name, and then you can put underground progress. That way the name is descriptive of what the work is. So now we have a few of our tasks in here, and what I need to know is what you're doing. And this way you're not calling me or explaining everything that's going on. So let's say you get on the job and the first thing you're doing is starting underground work. You can just bring this over here. I'll tell you what, let's go over to yours. So you are John Smith, you're the fictional foreman. So all you got to do is go over here to underground work and move it over to here. Now the great thing about that is when I open up my board, I'll see here that now you're working on underground work. You didn't have to call me and tell me, it's just right there. And that makes it really simple for me to keep track of what's going on the project. You don't have to write all kinds of descriptive things in there for me to understand what's going on. But you can, if you want to, I guess, if you want to keep me in line with exactly what's going on. If you would like, let's go back to your card and let me show you how to comment on a card and make sure that I'm in your comment. So if you say you started underground work today, if you want me to know and get notified that you're doing something, put in the @ symbol and then start to type my name. And once you get JE in there, you'll see my name come up. So it'll say @JeffBoots. So this is similar to Twitter if you use Twitter. And you can say, started digging for the, let me spell digging right, for the transformer pad. So you commented on that. Now, if I go to my Trello board, I can see here there's a notification, and it shows up here, and it also shows up over here. So if I was to click this one, I could see that you mentioned me on the card underground work, said started digging for the transformer pad. And if I go over here, I can also see that right there. I can choose to comment back or choose to do nothing. Just knowing that you're keeping in contact with me is good enough there. Let me, I guess, show you something real quick. If you happen to need to put in a different list or supplement these lists that are here now, all you got to do is, there's 2 ways to do it. Go to the end and click on Add a List. Or you can, wherever you want to put that list, say between these 2 cards, just double click right here. This tells you that it's in position 3. So here's 1, 2, it's going to go right here. And you can go ahead and make up whatever list that you need to. Now, when you're doing this work, say you're 50% done, and the way that I'm going to know what's going on is you can tell me just by clicking the checklist. If you're 50% done, please click all the way down to 50. The reason for that is when I look at this card here, I don't have to actually go into it. I can see that you have 5 of 10 done, so I know you're 50% done with groundwork without ever having to go inside of the card. And I think that makes it a lot simpler. So now we have an issues list. Now what the issues list is something that maybe you run across in the field that wasn't on the prints, or you need an answer for, or whatever. And I think this is a great place to use this. So let's say that there was an issue with a water line over panel M. What I want you to do is under issues, click on this card, and you can write about water line over panel M. Now click in here, and then I want you to mention me on this card just so I know that there's something going on. And just write at Jeff Boots, which is to me, there is a water line panel M location. We can move the panel without incurring extra cost. You say, please advise, comment. Now, when I go back to my board, I'm going to see that I've been mentioned, or there's a notification. I'll click on this and see, okay, there's a water line above the panel M. What are we going to do about that? Well, I've decided that, you know what, we probably need to ask the architect, so I'm going to put in an RFI. I'm going to put in here, just for my notes, I'm going to put sent RFI to GC. So you're not going to get notified of this, but this is just notes for me to understand it. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put the PDF of the RFI inside of here. So if you want to look back, you'll be able to see it. I'm going to comment on that. What else I'm going to do is I'm going to hit label, and I'm going to put follow up. This way I'll remember when I see that RFI that, hey, there's an RFI here and I need to follow up on it. So what I'll do is I'll come over here, and then I'll just say at the Foreman, put in RFI All right, so I'll comment on that. And if we look at your page, I'll see there's a notification over here. Sometimes it don't show up here over here. I'm not sure why. But I'll click on this, and it says right here that you were mentioned in a waterline over panel, and just tells you that I put in the RFI to see what the architect wants to do. You can click on here, and you can also see the same thing. So let's say that the architect comes back, issues an ASI saying, go ahead and move the panel if there's a no-cost change. So I'm going to put in ASI 01 and put relocate panel M. Add that card. I'll go ahead and put in here, and I'll put sent no cost change to architect. And now I'm finished with the ASI. I'll also go ahead and label it as resolved. I'll go ahead and label the RFI. Take the follow-up off because I don't need to follow up anymore as resolved. And your issue that you sent over me, I'll go ahead and label it as resolved. And now we can see that the issue, the ASI, and the RFIs have all been resolved. No more issues for us to deal with. So we have these other lists, which would be at the foreman, at me, notes, and then completed tasks. So things that might come straight to you that wouldn't have anything to do with any of these other lists might be something like this. I might put in here manpower for outage. So I might mention you on here. Is 3 guys enough for the outage? I'll comment on that. When I go over to your page and we look at what you got, you'll see that you got a notification. Click on that. Is 3 guys enough for the outage? So you'll mention me and say, let's say we got more done ahead of time than expected. So 3 guys is more than enough. Comment on that. I look over here and I have a notification. I see that you let me know that, you know, you got more done than you thought. So 3 guys is more than enough. That's great. What you might use this one for is, let's say table bender. Say you need a 3-inch bender or something. So mention me and say, see if there's a table bender available. Comment on that. We'll go back to my page. I see there's a notification for me. I'll come back to you and say, where else we'll bring one out tomorrow. Comment. So you have a notification over here. Click on it. It says warehouse will bring one out tomorrow. You'll see that right over here. What about notes? Notes would be anything that maybe we need to keep track of that's just not necessarily on any of these other lists as well. So maybe we're getting down to doing finishes or something. I might note in here device colors. Because maybe I told you, there's only 10 devices. You might as well order them. I'm not going to order them out for you. So inside of device covers, I might say at the Foreman, devices to be gray with stainless plates. Comment. So now if we go over to you, you'll see under notes, there's a notification. Devices to be gray with stainless plates. Now hey, if I got to order those devices, I need to go and get gray with stainless plates. Now, completed task is something that is really helpful for me anyway. When you get done, say you get done with the underground work and you've clicked off all 10 of these, there's 2 things you can do. You can click move here. You're still in this board. Move it to completed tasks. Say move. It's moved from working on over to completed tasks. Or you could, working on, you can just grab it. Move it over to completed tasks. The one thing that I ask is, as you complete a task, let's say you completed branch circuit wiring, last or the most recent one finished, please go on top. That way I can kind of look down and see what was most recently done just by looking at the way they are in the list. So that's pretty much all we need to go over for this particular list when you're doing it on the computer. But let's go ahead and go over what it'll be like with your iPhone app. Now I'm assuming that you're going to go ahead and download this, and just download Trello through the App Store on your iPhone. It's free, so you don't have to worry about it. And if you look at the interface, we can turn it sideways, and you can see more of your lists. But most likely, you're going to just handle it with it up in portrait mode. And if you need to see your list closer, just double tap the screen right by your list, and your card will fill up the screen. So you can see the little dots at the bottom, and that just lets you know that how many lists that you have that you go through. And you can do everything that you're doing on here that you do on the web version. There's a few things that you can't do, but most of the things you can do. So, all right, so let's look at our list. So we have lighting branch circuits. You can go ahead and long tap on that. It turns kind of crooked. You can move it over and right into working on. That's pretty simple. Now just click on it, and if you want to fill in the checklist where it says one checklist, go ahead and touch that, and now you can go ahead and click your items that are finished. And then just hit back, and then X out of it, and you go back and you can see where it shows 5 out of 10 things are done on branch circuits. So you can see by going through the app, it's pretty easy to add or move things around, change things. You can add cards at any time. If you do want to add a list, you're going to have to go all the way to the end and click add a list. You can't double tap, because if you double tap, that's when you zoom in and out of your card. So like I said, it's pretty simple to use the app. And where I think the app is good is in the field where you're able to actually just add to your checklist. Pretty easy right from the field. So when you're walking around the job, you can easily put in your progress. You don't have to remember and go back to the computer every time. The other thing that else is pretty good is if I'm going to go ahead and go into yours, and under lighting branch circuits, I'm going to write a comment to me. Here real quick, I'll write this comment, say need bulbs. And as soon as I comment, I can see I have a notification. I can click on it, and it says, you mentioned me in here. I can go ahead and click on this, and it'll take me to light and branch circuits. Add Jeff Boots, and it says needs bulbs. So that gives me some notification on my phone, and my iPad's picking it up, so my iPhone's not picking it up right as quick. But once you set this app up on your phone, when I mention you, it'll actually send you, it'll look like a text message to your open screen, letting you know that something's been changed on Trello or mentioned you on Trello. The other thing that I want to do, let's go ahead and get out of this app, and let's go back to the main setup screen. What I want you to do is go into the show menu. The first thing that I need you to do is go to more, let's do it again. Go to show menu, and then go to more, and I want you to subscribe to the board. By subscribing, that will automatically send you notifications anytime anything changes in this board. So if I add to the task list, if I do anything in office work where you're not mentioned, you'll at least get that information so you'll know something was changed. That's all I got. This video is probably longer than I had expected or even wanted it to be, but I appreciate your time in this. I really think that this is going to be a great tool for us to work. If you have any questions or comments, or maybe you see a better way to use this, I am way open to discussion about this, because I'm in the very, very early stages right now of using this with other foremen, and have had very good feedback. So please let me know, and I would be more than happy to discuss it with you. The better we can use this and the more efficient we are, the better we are going to be on projects. And I really appreciate your time again, and I am glad that I'm working with you. We'll see you later. Thanks.